Hello guys, we are in Voxxed Days and we have here Heather Vancura, right?
Yes, that's right.
She's the program lead of JCP and the chair of JCP, right?
Right, I'm chair of JCP. And who are you?
I'm Thomas Pliakas. Actually, I'm one of the co-organizers of Java Helenic User Group and the Java Helenic User Group representative in JCP.
Right. And
So-
I knew you already.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
just saying,
we-
who are you for the audience?
Yes,
You might not know who you are.
Okay.
So you got elected to interview me, or you asked to interview me.
No, actually it was, I was elected somehow.
You were elected. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So tell us a little bit about your role in JCP and
Okay.
how it is evolving there for the Java future.
All right. Well, my role in the JCP, as you kind of said in your introduction, was
Yes.
I'm the chair of the Java community process and director of the program itself. So basically, I run the executive committee meetings. So I chair the executive committee, right? So the executive committee is kind of like our board of directors for the organization overall. So we meet every month, chair those meetings. We are responsible for evolving the organization, the structure and the governance, as well as the executive committee votes on all the JSRs. So then the other part of my role, and apart from the executive committee, is keeping the program running itself. So I always like to say the heavy lifting of the JCP is done through the JSRs, right? So that's the primary focus of the JCP, development of JSRs. So I work with the spec leads and make sure they have all the information they need, help them facilitate in their role, because it's a big job that they have, serving as a spec lead. So helping them work with their expert groups and helping them move through the JCP process itself, and keeping our website up and running, and then of course engaging at conferences, so engaging with the community at conferences, and also working with Java user groups, like people like yourself, so getting them involved in the JCP through things like Adopt a JSR, and then growing our membership, right? So bringing people into the JCP and processing all of those agreements. My staff, is responsible for doing that, getting everybody signed up, helping them get onto the JSRs. So it's quite a varied role.
Great. So I know.
It's more than one person job.
Yes,
Isn't it?
yes, actually yes. And I have to admit that your team is always answering solid answers, and they can guide us very well sometimes.
Yes.
So we've seen the last couple of years some changes in the JCP in general, and like broadening the JCP membership or bringing a more different kind of contributors and things like that. So what is the next steps? What we want to expect from JCP?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we have this initiative called JCP.next. We started working on it probably close to 5 years ago, right? So opening up the JCP, that's really the overall thing that we're trying to do with JCP.next. So evolve to meet the needs of the Java developers, right? Because things change over time. So we definitely see that as an ongoing effort, right? So we've kind of opened things up. We've eliminated some oversight. We've broadened the membership, like you said, our last initiative that completed last year in 2016 to really eliminate any barriers for people who want to participate in the JCP. So this year we're looking at continuing that process, and really our focus on the next initiative will be in collaborative RI development. So looking at ways we can make things even more collaborative, and then just building on some of the things we've done, refining some things. So the executive committee, we're talking about a new JSR to get started, and we'll focus in that area. Things that we can do to create more collaboration. So maybe things we can do in easing the maintenance process. Maybe we'll increase like an errata process. So we have a maintenance process in the JCP, but again, it's really more one size fits all. Sometimes there are things that require a full maintenance release. Maybe there's simple things that we could use an errata process, right? So we're looking at introducing something like that, and just enabling more access, and then streamlining and fixes from the last iterations of JCP.next. So we're starting that now, and then we're also looking at ways we can ease and make better coordination between OpenJDK and the JCP, right? So, we're looking at being a little bit more agile in the Java space, right? So trying to get to releases that are more frequent. So what can we do working together, to look at things we can change within the JCP, and things in the way that the spec leads from the platform group can submit things that will make it a little bit easier and faster to get the releases going on a more and a cadence it's a little bit faster than 2014 to 2017.
Yeah, I think
years,
this.
So,
I think also the reference implementation needs more, must involve much more people, because in most of the JSR, he needs to read very carefully the JSR in order to be able to contribute and things like that. So I think reference implementation need to think about again how people can participate. And in most of the cases, Java developers, they're interested more in reference implementation than the
right. Well, that's
than
the
JSR.
interesting part. That's the code. That's how they get their hands on the code. So for Java SE, the way they do that is through OpenJDK.
Yeah.
And so, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking, I think we've created the adoption group in OpenJDK now, right? So that's the place now where developers can go and join that group, right, and get involved in more of the adoption. So yes, we have 3 different working groups going on in the EC, and the thing that you should know is that all of the meeting summaries from the executive committee meetings are public, so you can find those on JCP.org. You can follow along the conversations. We'll be seeing a new JSR coming out, submitted soon. My goal is to have it coming out in the next month or so.
Okay, this is great. So some hard questions now. The last month we see that with the modularing system of the Jigsaw project of JSR, executive committee now didn't vote for yes, and we have this kind of 30 days of revoting, right? So what will happen if the executive committee will not support this JSR bailout?
Well, I think the JCP is
which is the process actually.
The JCP is designed such that it's not designed that every vote is a yes, right?
Yeah.
So I think there are demonstration of certain JSRs maybe that don't always get approved on every ballot, right? That's why the JCP is designed to have 3 votes. Every single JSR goes through the same process, right? Every single JSR gets a vote 3 different times. So a vote to approve the JSR to start its work, and then a public review vote, which is the one that you just referenced, and then a final approval ballot vote before it can go to final release. So it's all part of the evolutionary process of a JSR lifecycle. So it's not, necessarily, it's ending now. The fact that the public review vote, it was not approved. That means that the spec lead and the expert group now go back and incorporate comments from the community, work together within the expert group, and submit for a reconsideration ballot. And that does often happen. So I think it's proving that the JCP works the way that it should. We have a checks and balances in terms of how the spec leads and expert group work, and the EC has a role, and it's important for them to be paying attention to what's going on in the community and vote on the JSR every single time.
To my view, I think this is great because you get the feedback from the community and the parts, and you always try to find the common point. So this is more a question coming from the community, and say that is it possible to have this kind of complete consensus in this executive committee? Is it, or in a JSR? Is this something that can be achieved, or usually there can be some votes that there are no, or
well, I think it's unrealistic to expect everyone to agree on everything, for every JSR to have a unanimous yes, for every expert group member to say yes, and that isn't the way that the JCP is designed. It's designed to know that it's going to be common for everyone to have different viewpoints, and there are ways to move it forward. It's not mandatory to have full consensus, and it's always worked that way from the time the JCP started, close to almost 18 years ago. So it's working the way it should in terms of bringing people together to cooperate. People that might be fierce competitors in the marketplace. You're coming together under the JCP to develop Java's future. You're agreeing that you're going to try to cooperate on the standard, and then you can go out in the marketplace and compete and have your differentiators and your implementation, and that creates the whole rich ecosystem that Java developers enjoy. And that's why we see Java being the #1 programming language platform of choice for developers year after year, 20 years later after Java was introduced, despite people saying many different times throughout its life cycle, it's dead, it's going to die, it doesn't meet the needs of developers. Well, the TIOB index comes out every month, and Java continues to grow and be #1, and there's a specific reason for that.
Okay, this is actually I think that's for me it's Java as a platform is a big issue, big thing, and there are so many languages that they are sometimes say that Scala or some other JVM hosted language are better than Java, but for some reason they are using JVM, so it's very funny
Well,
say
it's
some
true,
bad,
right.
yes, to
They are
say some,
JVM languages.
yes, they are
it's part of the
just
ecosystem,
yes,
right? It's not
and
a
they are
bad
based
thing.
on JVM, based on the
Yes.
specifications.
Right.
So this is the great stuff. Even if sometimes the developers of the JVM language they forget that they are actually using Java.
Yes. So.
They are hosted by Java, let's say.
Right.
So
Yeah, so I embrace that as part of the ecosystem, right? It's just creating that choice. I mean, that's again what makes Java so strong.
yeah, this is great. So this is for me. Thank you very much, Heather, for being in Voxxed Days.